Welcome back to this week's episode of Zero to Fuel Tycoon, the series in which I'm going from zero risk into becoming a known entity for fuel production in EVE Online. And we will have to begin this episode with the falling fuel block prices. They have been dropping for the last few weeks now, and the average sell is about 18k right now, and the drop doesn't look like it will be stopping anytime soon. And this puts us in a bit of a precarious situation, as we might have operated at a loss with our pricing following in the JITA sell prices. So it is looking very likely that we will have to rethink our pricing. There's not much we can do about that. So in the coming weeks, it's likely that we will decouple it from the JITA sell and to create our own pricing. It's not something I want to do, it's just something that we have to do. And if we have a look at the monthly economic report that CCP puts out, you can kind of see that there is a big spike in production after the recent expansion that came out around November. Then, of course, this is the Winter Nexus event, so this is probably just the event ICE. I don't know why they have to put that in here. But you can still see an increase in production. So more ICE is hitting the markets, and of course the prices drop. HiSec seems to be fairly stable. And it's interesting if you look at the negative numbers as well, because these represent residue, if I read this graph correctly, and they haven't increased at all. They might even be dropping down a bit. So it might not even be that there are more miners out there. It's simply just that with the crits and everything, more ICE is being mined. Now there seems to be a bit of a downward trend in the nullsec ICE, which could maybe level out the prices eventually, but we'll have to see. And from this data, it seems pretty clear that we'll have to adjust to a lower price. And from what I'm hearing, this is not only something that affects us, this is also with the regular ores. And from what I can tell, all the other industrialists are also facing price drops. So we are currently figuring out a new pricing model, and hopefully we'll have it done decently soon. We have also been discussing diversifying our income a bit, and I've tried to kickstart a few progress, but it hasn't really taken form. But now some of our more experienced guys have taken hold of it, and it looks like we'll be setting up some moon mining and doing a bit of reactions on the corporation side, which kind of ties in nicely with the fuel blocks, as they are an ingredient in the reactions. So it fits the theme of the corporation. So it'll be cool to see how that develops. I haven't been involved in it too much. I've just mined some moon ore once or twice. I don't have the reaction skills myself, so I'm not really sure how it works. From what I can tell, you can make a bit of money. So yeah, it'll be cool to see how it develops. And hopefully it'll be something enjoyable for people to do as well. I have mainly spent my time now sort of commuting between Minmatar space and Kildare Galente. So out in Minmatar space, I have been mining some ice. I haven't really done that in a while, and it's been quite nice. We finally set up an office, and we're trying out different areas, and it seems fine so far. So we'd probably be ready to ship out a few smaller orders if they come in. But I've also spent time up in Kildare and Galente doing a lot of recruitment in the, especially in the beginner systems, and we're now sitting at 147 characters in the corporation. I would have hoped to do a little bit more of recruiting, but I got a bit swamped at work, and I couldn't spend as much time as I would have wanted on it. And for new orders, I haven't spent any time on that. I have a little bit of a strategy that we worked out in the back of my head. Hopefully I'll get some time to get around to it. See if we can get into contact with some of the larger industrialists that hang out in low-sec areas. For me as a pilot, the highlight of the week was for sure that we went to war, or should I say the war came to us, as one of the corporations in Plenitude Alliance had their station being attacked. So we got to form up the Plenitude Police for the first time. So we're using alts for that. So I got into my alt, and I got to try to fly in a fleet for the first time, and I was pretty bad at it to begin with, but you get a hang of it after a few jumps. And it was there was a nice excitement to it. We were sitting docked and waiting and not knowing what to happen. I've heard people complain about the sitting docked up for 6 hours and there's no action. But for me, as it's still a new thing to me, that was actually quite exciting how we didn't sit 6 hours. And you had that sort of, oh, am I going to screw this up? What's going to happen? Will they be there? Will they bring friends? So I have to admit, I was a bit nervous and I wasn't good at warping. But we got there and I think we were about 50 pilots. And from what people are telling me, that's quite a lot for a high-sec brawl. Half of that was from Plenitude. So we did a pretty decent format, and ARDCO, I think, was only second to Plenitude Corporation itself in terms of numbers showing up, which was really good to see. So I think 25 people were from the high-sec division, which I don't think it's probably not a massive number, but for a high-sec group, for an industrial high-sec group, it sounds like it's pretty decent. It was a good experience. I liked it. If I think about it in like a long-term perspective, if it would be something I would enjoy, I don't think so, because you're essentially just being directed on what to do. And I think like once I figured out how to do that, I think I could get a bit bored of that. I think I would like personally, I would probably like one-to-ones or smaller gang stuff where there's more of a personal skill expression, if that makes sense. Not saying it's boring. I think it'll still be fun, but like as a long-term thing, I don't think I would want to be a fleet member. Maybe if you would go into Logi or something, even though I don't know how it works, but it sounds like it could be a bit more of a skill thing. And I think I'd enjoy that. And for my character, I've done a little bit of mining exploitation skills, get the crit chance up. But overall, I don't have like a goal of what I'm training right now. I'm more just dumping a few points into the various processing stuff. I feel like it's always gonna benefit me to have reprocessing skills. And maybe I'll look at getting into reactions a bit as well. Yeah, maybe some scrap metal processing. Would love to finish off the last ice processing to get that final little percentage. Maybe looking into some of the moon ores if we're gonna start doing that. Because yeah, I feel like these skills will be invaluable, and I think the quicker I can get these, the more ISK I can make long term. It's like the trading skills, getting your taxes down. The earlier you can do it, the more you'll make. And for next week, my goal will be the same. Continue the recruitment, bring more life into Kaldari and Galente, which has improved, which is good to see. Maybe start focusing a bit on Minmatar space as well. And I'll see if I can start doing the plan of getting more customers. Part of me also wants to wait a bit until we put the new system in place so we don't lose money, and that the new customers are brought in with the new system. So maybe I'll wait until we finalize the new pricing system. And we'll have the first moon ops this week. And I have to clarify, these are not our own moons. This will be within the Alliance that will take part of the sort of open moon mining sessions. Other than that, I just want to give a shout out to Eve Compass, who invited me to do a podcast episode, which felt a bit out of my comfort zone, but I said yes. And in the end, it was a very nice experience. I'll link the video in the description so you can go and have a look. So we're discussing things about ARDCO, about EVE Online, about a little bit about the burnout. It was just a nice conversation. That'll be everything for this week. I'll see you again in the next one.